Hello, everybody. I'm back again today. Uh, that Cracker Barrel deal that they're doing, where they're trying to take Southern tradition out of that company and bring it up to something that it's not, with their pride junk and sponsoring that DEI and all that junk. It's got me to thinking about family farms and ranches. How that uh, they're actively trying to destroy our way of life. I heard somebody, a big YouTuber, was talking on his channel about how he had a conversation with YouTube, and they was wanting to, not really want to promote homesteading channels or conservative Christian channels. They wanted to go sort of a new direction. I don't know why, because without family farms and ranches, this country would fold up. I really don't understand them. You got these corporate farms and ranches, but it takes all. It takes from the family owned to the small family owned farm and ranch, and now homesteader, to feed everybody. Now that you see all these recalls of these corporations and what they're doing, how they're not putting products out that's safe. The old ways are coming back into style, the old homemade ways. And then you got Cracker Barrel trying to change their. It just blows my mind. It really blows my mind when it's supposed to be more like you step in and supposed to go back into time to your grandma's, your grandpa's cooking. They really blow my mind. But let me get back to where I was at. I look at the land here that I've got, and what we do here on this farm, and sometimes you lose in all this politics stuff and trying to fight to keep what you believe in alive, which is God, family, and country. Obama said we cling to our guns and Bible. Well, that's true. We do. We cling to our guns and our Bible, because the Bible, we have faith that when we plant a seed in the ground, that we're going to get a harvest. No matter if it's cattle, goats, sheep, horses, whatever. We got faith that we're going to have something at the end of the day. And it goes along with believing in Jesus Christ, that he died for our sins. It's the faith that we have that when we die, and that we're going to heaven. That faith, that the faith that he died for our sins to give us everlasting life. You have to have that faith. And it's the same way when you're working this land, when you're growing the crop, or when you plant that seed. Unfortunately, in these big cities, there's a lot of rotten seeds that's sprung up, and the crops are no good. They have brainwashed these people. They don't even know where their food comes from, and they don't care. You see some of these people on the streets talking about these little babies, little 3-year-old kids are getting shot. I don't care if they're black, blue, green, yellow. That's a 3-year-old baby. And they act like, well, but what it is. I just can't fathom it. You know, and they talk about Southern people being racist and backwards and just unbelievable how it's really reversed. I mean, it is. But getting away from that, I'm getting off the wrong track. What I was going to talk about was, you know, the beauty that we see. You know what? I can get a cup of coffee, walk out of a morning, if I'm expecting a calf, and watch it be born, but with the sun coming up, stand there drinking a cup of coffee. The beauty of that mama cleaning that calf and it taking its first drink of milk, trying to walk for the first time, or watching when you plant sweet corn or green beans, whatever, or watching them vines grow, bloom, and beans start, and having your first mess of beans or your first mess of sweet corn. Unfortunately, this year, a young buyer took care of most of our sweet corn, but we did get a harvest, thank God. But he worked in it. But we still got a harvest. I had faith that we would get something off of it, and we did. You know, the beauty of going out into the woods and squirrel hunting or deer hunting and bringing that into the table. You know, and not being fed something that been 1,000 preservatives put in it to keep it fresh, and you don't know what you're eating. You know, it says the product on the package, but then when you read, it's got 1,000 different things in it. I'll give you an example. Like if you buy lard to cook with, you go to Walmart, you pick up that bucket of lard, it don't say rendered fat. It gives you a whole list of stuff's in there when all you do is render fat to get lard. There ain't nothing in it. You just cook it down, pour it off, and you got lard. But how do they put all that junk in there that ain't even supposed to be in there? There's where the disconnect is. And the farmers get the blame for it. Just like beef. You know, we don't give no shots unless we absolutely have to, you know. But in these feedlots, in order to get these animals up the way they do, put them all together, and they give them a lot of antibiotics, a lot of hormones to make them grow and eat faster. And that's why buying a beef off of me is going to taste different than what you buy in the store. Because in the store, if you buy a pack of hamburger meat, there's probably 1,000 cows mixed in with that pack of hamburger meat. That's the difference. Not to mention the pectin and the shaved ice they put in it to ground it to take 10 pounds and make 50. Same way with chicken, they inject it with saline solution. So, you know, and who knows what else. And bread. You ever notice bread used to? If you didn't eat bread within 2 or 3 days in mold, now you can buy a loaf of bread and throw it up on the shelf, and 6 months later come back and it's fresh. You noticed that now? Back in not too many years ago, if you buy a loaf of bread, if you didn't eat it in a week, you were throwing it out to the dogs or the hogs or whatever because it molded and went bad. Now you can't get it to mold. That's why homemade bread is so much better. You know. And I've seen these people talk about these big cities, the beauty of walking up the skyscraper and going up the top and looking out over the city. Well, I walk out on these ridges and I look to the next ridge and see the beauty of nature that's not been touched unless there's maybe a house snook or a barn snook down in between, a holler or something. That's beauty. beauty of looking to where your ancestors had put up a split rail fence, and you find parts of it still left 150 years later, knowing that your great 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 grandpa laid that rail or split that rail. That there's beauty. Or seeing having a quilt that your grandmother or your great great grandmother had and still use it today. That's beauty. And good home cooking is what I call beauty. The old recipes, the apple pies, the desserts, and just the way it was cooked on a cook stove. The taste, how it tastes so different cooked on a cook stove than it does on electric or gas range. That's why you see a lot of prepping channels are trying to go off grid. They're trying to get back to what we've lost in this country and the beauty of being able to raise your own animals and not be interfered with. That's beauty. But anyway, that's what I had on my mind today. I hope you guys will support all your local family farms and ranches and homesteaders are coming up. I love to watch the new people starting homesteads, especially I love watching Celebrating Home Life. They've started their homestead down in South Carolina, and I love watching them grow, and I love watching their channel grow. And there's a lot of other channels, Okie Sharecropper. I love to watch them guys. Him and his brother's the sheriff, and they bale a lot of hay, and their families into horses, barrel racing, cattle. Good, wholesome channels that still believe in God, family, and country, and a way of life that's really pure, you know. But anyway, good Lord will, and I'll see you next time. God bless you, and thanks for watching as always.